All right. That looks a little better. Well, what is going on, everybody? Today we're going to be opening up this Daiwa. I forget the name of this. What is this? This is a Daiwa. There it is. The Daiwa Alphas SV T-Wing. This is kind of like a bait finesse type reel. It's good for light lures. I use it for a jerk bait, to be honest with you. 10-pound line, and it's just been beaten up by living in my rod locker and just getting a ton of use. So today I'm going to take apart the reel completely and get it ready for a new paint job. So in order to do that, I need to get all the different pieces off of this. And without further ado, let's get into this and see what's inside this Daiwa Alphas SV. This reel was made in Thailand, as you can see there. And the way this is going to work is you just pop this lock here, and that will knock off the side plate. So we're definitely going to want to paint this side of the side plate, and so you have to figure out then how to get the rest of this off. So I'm going to investigate that here. It looks like there's some pins in there. I don't want to force anything here. I definitely see some screws in there. So this is your brake system. And okay, it probably has to do with something simple. You should never force a reel open. Worst comes to worst, we just tape over this, and once we tape that, we'll be able to sand this down and paint it. All right. After that, a lot of folks will tell you to take a piece of tape here, because this line, once off the reel, will get everywhere, especially if you're trying to look at it through a phone. But what I do here, you just wrap this up, and you can tape the line down. That's your spool. So that's the Alphas SV T-Wing spool. This is really cool. It's an 800 size spool, so it's not as small as like a 70. There's a SV70, which would be pretty cool to open up and use that spool. It's not as, I think it's the same spool size actually as the Daiwa Gecko Bijan, which I thought about repainting, but I'm gonna do it with this reel that I don't use as much first. And if I can figure out how to custom paint a reel, that'll be pretty cool. My dad taught me that as you take things apart, you should just line them up. Line all the parts and pieces up so that when you put it back together, you put it back in the right order. So that's the inside of that reel right there. Not bad. I can see there's a piece here that will help me take out, I believe, the guard for the pinion gear. I'm not too sure if I'll try that, but I might give it a go. Okay, next up, gotta go into the toolbox and grab yourself a, looks like I have a flathead there. That looks good there. So I've got some tools from when I built a computer, and it's gonna come in handy here. To get this plate off on the side, as you can see, I put the SLP Works custom carbon fiber handle on it. It's been pretty sweet. Nice upgrade. Lightened up the reel a lot. You're just gonna get in here and pop this. Here, you go. Pop this open here. Take that. and you're just gonna assemble it how you take it apart. That way there's no confusion. All right, this little plate here will just drop off after that. Doesn't really matter which way it goes. I guess you could look at which side is matte and which side isn't. I'll try to bring this light in a little better. It's a pretty wicked shadow, sorry. But yeah, okay. And what that does is that holds this nut in place. To keep that from rolling around, I normally do that. All right. Now you've got that size 10 there, so you're gonna need something that can get that off. It's not on very tight because you'll break the carbon fiber, but you know, you'll just loosen that up and then you can pull the rest of this off. You want to hold the drag star. There's a spring under there. You don't want any of these pieces to go flying. You'll never find them. Okay, that's off. Once that's off, your handle can come off. And just line up your pieces. Once the handle's off, there is a small washer there. You can put that down. And then very gently, you can let that relax and you can see your star drag. You can get custom ones of these. These are SLPs as well. You can, or you can paint them. I might paint my own. This thing looks pretty sweet and is paintable. So we might go ahead and paint this piece. I'll put that there for now. Actually, I might move this to the paint side. So this is a piece I'm gonna paint, and this is a piece that I'm gonna paint. We'll make our paint side here. All right, now we're gonna take this spring, I remember which way it was. So when you put it back together, like my dad taught me, you just put it right back on. Take it off how you would put it back. All right, then there's a nut here that comes off this whole gear. Sometimes this can be tough to take off. Today it doesn't look like it's gonna be that bad. Your hands might get a tiny bit greasy as you do this. It's a good way to clean your reel as well. With it is gonna come just, you know, whatever the stacked greasy pieces are. Sometimes they stick together and that's a benefit to you. So again, I'm gonna remember that that came off this way. Place that down like that. Next is your clicker drag. It's got a bunch of different washers. Fall off if you pull it straight up and place it straight down. All right, so now we're getting into things here. Perfect. Okay. Once you've done that, really the only thing left is this bearing. This bearing is what helps this thing turn. You don't need to worry about this, I've learned. But you do need to come back on the other side here and pop 1, 2, yeah, 1, 2, 3. There's the third one right there. So we're gonna use our computer gear again. We've got to find out which hex head. It looks like a hex head. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it's a hex. Let's try a 3. See if we can get lucky on the first try here. Is it a 3? Let's go for the easiest one. Is it a 3? It's not a 3. It's smaller than a 3. Let's try 2.5, maybe? Maybe a 2.5 here. It's a 2.5. Sweet. All right, so we're gonna put our 2.5 on. And we will undo this first bolt or screw. All right, I'm gonna remember that came from the front of the reel. I'm gonna get in here Can't reach that one very well. But if I remember, there's this really cool sneaky piece to this computer gear that lets me get around corners. So this thing's sweet. It's flexible, helps you get into the harder areas. It's not perfect. But there. You can get in there. Somehow. Makes you wonder how they did it. That doesn't work. Shoot. So I'm gonna take this 2.5. How did they get in there? That's very interesting. I'm gonna do this one. All right, and remember this came from the bottom. And now I just need to figure out that last one. See if I can get the right angle on it. I know it's got to go through here, but I don't have the length. Okay, how to problem solve. How to problem solve. There's a few different ideas I have. I'll try it one more with this curved version. Can't quite get the angle I need. They're not gonna make it easy on me. Do I have a longer piece I can use here? Let's see what I got in the toolbox. Boy, they're sneaky, aren't they? That's how they keep you from working on your own reel. Give me a second, I'm gonna go look for something. Okay, I'm gonna use this to hold on to this to pop in here and then spin. It's gonna be slow going, but it's going to work. There it goes. Just a bit at a time. If you're a fisherman, you have tons of patience, so you're not gonna freak out. Really, all you gotta do is loosen it up. And spin it. Until it comes out. Glad I'm videotaping this, because I will hopefully remember that. Now it's going to be difficult, because now this thing wants to come out of this. Okay, I see what's going on here. This is almost like a gatekeeper pin there, but you can see how it's starting to come out now. All right, how am I going to get the rest of this sucker out? What the heck is it? Daiwa, what are you doing to me, man? Does this fit in there? No, it doesn't. Come on, Daiwa. Don't do it like this. I know they're about to make me go to the store and get my own freaking version of whatever piece this is. Come on. Wonder if I can get this open enough to turn it. All right, how do I turn the rest of this thing? Let's see what I got. You gotta be pretty smart here how we do this. Maybe I'll use this. Yep, that works. Because the thing is loose enough to turn. And I'm gonna have to remember how to do this when I put the whole thing back together. What I'm doing is just grabbing the end here and spinning it manually. Boy, I really wonder how they put that together. Maybe that's where this comes in. No, I mean, that's what that hole's there for, you know? So I will have to go find, there it goes. Boom, got it. Okay, there's another 2.5. That one came from the most difficult part of the reel. Now for the cool part. If you remove those three, you can come back to this side and your side plate. Now you gotta be careful, there's some springs in here, so I'm gonna turn it this way. I'm gonna lift it straight up. This is gonna come straight up and off. And there are the gears to a Daiwa Alphas SV. On the inside here, it is nice and clean. You can see how well that's sealed. I've used this for several years and haven't had really anything get in there. Well, that's nice to see. Check that out. That looks pretty freaking good, dude. You can give this a poke and it's gonna pop out the ball bearing there. And there's a whole uh-oh, where did this guy come from? Oh, bet you he was on the bottom of this ball bearing. 20 bucks. All right, we're gonna pull this straight up and out. I think that's called the pinion. And it would make sense that this sits like this on top of the pinion. I've also seen it the other way, to be honest with you. You can always look up these schematics online if you do kind of make a mistake or don't remember. It would make more sense to me that that sits like that on top of the pinion. So I'm gonna set that for there, right there, like that. There's a whole anti-reverse clutch in there, but we're gonna tape that off. We won't worry about that. There is a tension dial right here that is now completely loose. We're not gonna worry about that either. This whole side, I'm gonna leave black, but we're gonna tape off this area here. We're gonna paint this old silver piece. So we have another painting piece there. And what's left is a lot of gearing and manufacturing and all sorts of stuff in here. All right. I'm not going to worry too much about this side, but I do want to paint this side. So I will have to find a way to paint or, get all this taped off so that it's not impacted by the paint process. Now, the cool thing, too, is, like, I don't know if you're an engineer or not, but most people I've kind of learned from really cringe if you pull this gear. See how that gear is working perfectly together? And they've been like that since delivery. And if you pull this up and screw up the gears, it's completely a completely different, like, relationship between those gears. In theory, it should be perfect every time, but if you don't want to mess with that, you don't have to. Okay, now this piece here is interesting to me. I'm gonna just be very careful now. I think I'm going to pull this front piece off. So to do that, it looks like I need Phillips head. Let's go with a 1. Why are you asking me about Febreze, bro? The one is too big. I'll go with a 0. Zero's close. Might be a double 0. Double 0 looks good. And just in case, I'm going to pull a 000. See if that's better. 000 fits a lot better. So, like, where are you going to find a 000 Phillips head? You know? Get in there. My goal is to pull off this piece. Okay, and I'm going to remember that this comes from the front. I don't know if you can hear my daughter in there waking up. All right, I'm going to be super careful here to go to the other side. Don't want to lose too much of this gearing. There's another one right here. We're going to pull this. There. There is a small piece here. Oh, it's just gonna fall off. Sweet. So now we can pull off this front protective piece. It'd be cool to custom paint that something completely different to the real, wouldn't it? So we'll paint that piece as well. And we have basically gotten down to the spots that we need to for this. I don't want to lose that. For this paint job. We can paint or leave this. I might leave that so I don't get paint and pinion in the gear. I think that's actually the pinion. But we'll try to get down in there. Unless this covers that. Oh, it does. So I really just need to worry about painting this here, this body part. So if I worry about painting this body part, I can slap that back under it and it'll go together really nice. Oh, this looks so sweet. So now what I want to do is I'm going to clean this a bit. And the next step is to sand off all the pieces that we're going to paint. But in order for, oh, see, I just moved the gear. That's going to make some people angry. In order to get this whole thing ready for paint, we had to take it completely apart. So that is how you take apart a Daiwa Alphas SV in preparation for paint. We'll see how it goes next steps. Wish me luck. Peace out.